PushGapRadio.com, Hamilton Park, Dallas, Fort Worth.
First and foremost, I don't like the fact that all you niggas keep on putting on hoodies and running into these high-end stores and stealing all the shit. You know why all that stuff in the stores? Because it's a recession. Ain't nobody buying that shit. Nigga try to sell me a Chanel bag the other day for half off. Boy, give me $4,000. I say, well, give you what? I got $800. I'm not buying that shit. You're crazy. Because you don't know no white person that's going to buy this shit because they're going to lock your dumb ass up. So you got to sell that shit back in the hood. The hood fucked up right now. Think. If you really want to make some money, go steal some school clothes, school shoes, school supplies. Shit niggas need. It's back to school time. You know how high uniforms is? Uniforms high as a motherfucker, man. They cutting niggas food stamps. Go to the grocery store and steal a nigga a whole grocery list. Stock my fridge up. Shit niggas need. Why you buying no motherfucking Chanel bags and everything? Go steal some school shoes, man. My son and daughter, they all need 9 of them motherfuckers. Steal that. I'd rather give you half off $100 than half off of $8,000. You niggas stealing the shit, going to jail with you can't even sell it. You can't sell it. It's a recession, bro.
PushGapRadio.com.
We finna take over this town like street sweepers.
Don't knock the hustle, baby.
Hey, this is Scott Moran. It's not just the brothers that listen to PushGapRadio.com. For the hottest new show in the Metroplex, it's Shackleford 1 in the main event on PushGapRadio.com. Hamilton Park, Dallas, Fort Worth. Dallas, baby.
PushGapRadio.com in Dallas and Fort Worth. Welcome to another edition of Shackleford 1 in the main event, of course, with Jackie O. What's the business?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the show. It's going to be action-packed as usual.
Well, I don't know about action-packed. This isn't a...
Well, I mean, as far as action-packed, as far as information, the information highway, we give it so quick and so thoroughly.
Of course.
That it's action-packed.
Because we do our research.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, we do.
We try to be very thorough. We don't just want to just throw our opinion. We give that as well.
Right.
But we back it with facts. Another homeboy I found on TikTok. Y'all need to quit stealing stuff that ain't nobody in the hood trying to buy, fam. Okay? You need to go, like he said, you need to go to Walmart or Sam's or whatever and get steaks and chicken and stuff people can use. Like he said, go get some school uniforms. I didn't know school uniforms were that expensive.
Yes, school uniforms were expensive before all the rates went up on everything.
Right.
Anything, though, that you have to have is usually expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, y'all need to quit stealing stuff that can't nobody use, fam. You need to quit stealing stuff folk can't use. Everything is high as giraffe booty right now, mine. Get stuff folks can use, fam. You running out here getting Gucci bags, Gucci, Louis, and Panucci and Prada. Get some stuff folk in the hood can use, because you sure can't go sell it to them white folk. Like
they need to stay out of these people's stores,
they
period.
They do.
Don't be running up in there stealing anything. Go get a job like everybody else. We all struggling. Everybody is struggling. We just gonna struggle together.
Before we delve into it, prime time.
Ooh,
Deion Sanders, mine, at it again,
and
mine.
the Buffaloes.
Another great
Colorado
win
Buffaloes
for prime time in the Colorado Buffaloes over Nebraska. Shedeur Sanders is looking real swell.
Got me sitting here looking at a whole football game. Don't know what the hell going on.
This is true. You're not really a huge football fan until it comes to your Dallas Cowboys.
But thank you for being patient with me. I'm sure some of my questions are probably not like normal questions.
Well, you know, if you don't know, you don't know. And it's good that you would like to know. And also, go Bears.
Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, that is.
The little cowpokes, okay?
America's team. America's other team other than the Colorado Buffaloes.
Shut up. I'm trying to do the show here.
Go Cowboys.
Anyway, tensions between the Biden administration and local Democrats are coming to a head as shelters around the country overflow and thousands of immigrants arrive in major cities. President Biden is stuck between growing calls to help the Democratic-controlled cities, the politics of the vulnerable issue, and what the administrative views as legal handcuffing, prohibiting action. Now, over the weekend, they shipped in about another 1,000. They're calling them migrants and asylum seekers. That's just a way to soften it up. You're an illegal immigrant, illegal alien, if that's what you want to call it, and they're going to just keep coming. You know, the sign always says, don't feed the animals. If you feed a stray dog or cat, they're going to keep coming back and bring more with them. But don't you think that if you would just quit giving these people everything that you're not giving to the American public, you can retire after working your ass off and paying damn taxes, and your retirement check is $1,400 a month. They're coming in here and they're getting $2,200 a month, haven't paid a dime in taxes, haven't worked, haven't done anything in this country. But you, the American citizen, get screwed over, man. And if they work so hard, if they're such hard workers, why don't they build up Mexico?
And to let your government tell it, that is exactly the reason why they let them into the country. Mm-hmm. They're calling them migrants, which, and their definition...
Just a softer word.
It's a softer word, but their definition for migrants is 4 different types of migrants. They are people that leave their country because they want to work, study, or join family. Those are considered migrants. And so, therefore, all of them are considered migrants, right? Because let them tell it, that's what they're all coming for. Yeah. Because the reason why they would be seeking asylum is if they felt some type of fear or, something from their country. And none of these people are feeling fear from their country. They're just trying to come to the United States so that they could have a better life.
And they're just steady complaining about everything. You're not even from here. What the hell are you complaining about?
They are. Now, but the reason for the United States letting them in and accommodating them is because of the work situation and because of the census. Yeah. Because once they come over here and after they've stayed in the country for 5 years, then they in a way, they start getting some type of benefits. Yeah. And they can...
Hell, they're getting them now.
Well, yeah, but not as many as they get once the 5 years hit. Mm-hmm. And but they are considered to be working in positions that the Americans normally would not work at much lower wages. Yeah. And so therefore they're paying into taxes allegedly, and they are contributing towards the economy. Now, I beg to differ with that because when I used to work for Barbizon and we used to have to call the parents' homes and stuff, these parents did not want to do anything that had to do with signing any paperwork with their names or anything. And they usually work under the table where they get paid cash. So how can they be contributing towards the Social Security? They're trying to say that they're helping the pay the Social Security to those that are now getting Social Security. Right. Basically, they're just trying to smooth it over as to why they're letting them in here, which it makes no sense because they're not legal, so how can they be paying into a system? But they are getting a lot of benefits.
And later on in the program, we're going to break down the 3 entities that benefit from these illegal immigrants. There's a reason they're letting them in, and we're going to break that down as well. But Minister Farrakhan was making a statement in a radio interview that he did some months ago. And he was saying, why do majority of the immigrants settle in black and poor communities? And immigrants come to the black community, as most immigrants do, to build their American dream. If we were so broke and didn't have no money, why are the Arabs here? But I'll let Minister Farrakhan explain that to you. Check it out.
Thank you, sir. $1.1 trillion comes through black hands.
That's right.
This year. So don't say we don't have money. We don't have unity. And if we had unity and pooled our money, then we could begin to take control of where we live. If we don't have money, why are the Arabs here? If we don't have money, why are the Koreans here? If we don't have money, why is every immigrant that comes to America find their way into the black community to build their empire, their American dream on the black nightmare? So we have got to change that reality. Now, we had a black bank here, Seaway.
That's sold.
Seaway gone.
Yep.
Independence Bank gone.
Gone.
Now, ask the Koreans. Now, I know we like hair and we like nails and we...
Wait a minute now.
Now, wait a minute.
Let's don't talk about hair. No.
I got to talk
Let's
about
don't get rid of the
hair.
hair.
Because I know you love your hair. And the Koreans know it too.
Yeah, they do.
So you go and spend $400 and $500 for a weave. And the Korean brother will not put any of that money in a Seaway bank.
Nope.
In a black bank. The Arab stores all over the black community. And they're doing everything, selling drug paraphernalia. And I hear some of them have guns that they give to our young people. Korea is the only one that can do hair and nails, but they've cornered the market. Even if you have the store, you gotta go to them to buy the hair. But ain't nothing wrong with your hair. It's real beautiful. And if we work with it,
Group economics, how can we make that work?
well, I think you gave the answer. Pooling your resources, that's number one. But if we don't trust each other and don't have love for each other, it'll be very difficult for somebody to take $1 from their pocket, pool it with $1 from your pocket, and everybody in this room put $1 up, and then we start doing business, owning land, creating food and agribusiness. All these empty lots in our community should be turned into gardens where we grow our own food, because the food that we're eating is designed to kill us.
Now, last week we taught you that white folks just the last to get hit. In New York, they got like 10,000 immigrants a month coming in. They talking about there's going to be another 100,000 immigrants coming in. They just bust some more.
And
Buffalo.
Staten Island wasn't having that.
Staten Island, Queens, exactly.
Speaking of the poor and the versus the rich neighborhoods, Staten Island was not having that. They bust those people in there, and they turned them around in a matter of hours.
Right.
All of those people came out. It was like, not on our watch, they're not.
Yeah. You got to look for the hidden hand. And we told you, white folks just the last ones to get hit. How much space do you think that you have in the hood or in these poor communities? Eventually, it's going to start to bleed out. Look at Chicago. They living in the damn police station, mine. What kind of crap is that? And then they're just
taking over school. They're putting them in school.
The school system
schools,
is
everything.
burdened. And then you're slowing down the students in the school because they have to wait for these children to catch up.
Who can't speak English.
Can't speak English. And you have to wait on them to catch up so that you can get them up to speed. And then these kids is already damn stupid because they were out of school for almost 2 years when the pandemic hit.
And some of the one thing that is across the board is when it comes to schooling, whether they're illegal or not,
right?
They're offering schooling to all of their children along with free lunch. Now that I don't know. I'm kind of torn on because the children do need an education. However, I don't know if they necessarily should be mixed in with with the American children at this point, because again, they don't speak English,
right?
And they will be slowing them down. And I don't want them to take away from the resources that our children are not getting, because again, we have so many homeless naturalized Americans, including children. We need to take care of our own first.
Yes, because there's a lady that came on, and she was talking about the fact that her kid goes to a Catholic school, and there was an empty Catholic school across the street, and some people that came in and wanted to convert them to condos, but they voted that down. They said in that community that they would rather keep it an educational facility, but in come the migrants, and all of a sudden you're converting it over for them. And here's the thing I don't understand. You come in here demanding rights and whatnot, which you have no rights to, and then you stand here, you waving the American flag, the Mexican flag, as you stand in America trying to get the same rights the citizens here have. And again, we're going to cover who's benefiting from it, because you got to look for the hidden hand, as it was once said.
I'm sorry, babe. I got the top 10 countries of origin too.
Okay, because you got these people flooding up in here, and like Minister Farrakhan said, they're coming into our communities to make money, and then they're sending all their profits back home. But you want to believe that we don't have any money.
Send them back. Send them back. Send them back to wherever the fuck they come from. Round them up, put them on a plane, and ship their asses out of this fucking country. Because one thing's for certain. If Donald Trump was still president, this shit wouldn't be happening. It is the complete audacity for me, the demands that they're making. U.S. citizens don't even fucking get help from the U.S. government. We got men, women, children, and veterans who are fucking hungry, homeless, and don't have health care. It's a real simple fix. Round them up and ship their asses out. Send them back. Problem solved.
Now, collectively, black people produce over $1 trillion in spending a year, like 1.2, 1.6. We just spend it incorrectly. And according to the Pew Research Center, blacks in the U.S. make up roughly 14% of the country's population, about 46.8 million strong, with a buying power of 1.4 trillion. If African Americans were a country, we would rank as the 16th largest economy in the world. Now, bottom line, other groups stick together, plan to support each other. We really don't. That was by design. I'm going to do a show on that within the next week or so. Everyone wants to talk about how black people are, but you never want to discuss how we got here. That's the part that we're going to break down. Now, someone was saying that you niggas ain't killing each other fast enough. That's why they're flooding your communities with these people to replace you, okay? And look at the places that they're shipping them to: New York, LA, Chicago, Houston, the largest cities, and they just trying to flush the blacks out.
And those are all cities that are saying that they, at first, before they actually had to walk the walk,
right?
They all were cities that agreed to accept the immigrants.
Yeah,
so now,
sanctuary cities.
Yeah, so now that you're getting them, it's a problem.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, as far as California goes, so many people are moving out of California because everything is so expensive.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things that the government like about the migrants is they work for they keep the wages low.
Yeah.
And if they're working for low wages,
that's hurting us as Americans.
Yes, it is. It very much is. But the thing is by them accepting these low wages, they really can't afford to live in California. So even though they're going there, they're leaving out.
Yeah, but if you live in free, everything's given to you. You know what I'm saying? Everything is handed to you. You come here, you call back, hey, man, we got big screen TVs and we getting $2,200 a month and free transportation. And now they're talking about in Chicago that these people are going to be able to be policemen and whatnot.
The governor of Illinois just signed a bill into law that allows the police departments of the state of Illinois to hire police who are not citizens of the United States. First of all, how is that constitutional? How is that constitutional? How is it constitutional for someone who is not a U.S. citizen to enforce U.S. law on U.S. citizens? Where my black attorneys at? Somebody get Kamala Harris. Can somebody get the Congressional Black Caucus on the phone? Somebody got to explain to me. Somebody got to explain to me how an American city can hire non-citizens to police citizens. Can somebody explain that? I'm telling y'all why they doing this. We're going to bring anti-African South Americans to Chicago and New York, and we're going to make them police so they can purge the Africans out. What's going to happen when the first migrant police officer murders a black man? What's going to happen when the first migrant police officer murders a black woman? They are bringing them in to purge us. They are stealing millions of dollars from black taxpayers. And on top of all of that, they're going to give them a gun, a badge, and some handcuffs.
So, look at what you're doing to the American public, man. Chicago's O'Hare Field, they turning that into a dang on migrant shelter because they just overwhelming the city. Say Chicago leaders are facing backlash over hundreds of migrants being housed at O'Hare International Airport, one of the nation's busiest airports. More than 400 migrants are reportedly being housed in a section of the airport hidden from public view. Up from 31 migrants at the beginning of August, and they just overwhelmed. These people sleep at the police station, out on the street, in front of hotels,
because they don't have anywhere to put them, and they're coming in faster than they can assist them. But see, Biden at the beginning, because you remember when he did his talk, he was saying that 45,000 migrants would be allowed in monthly. Well, that's incorrect because there's over 1 million coming in monthly. They said that he was off by 334%.
Yeah, they're gonna lowball the numbers.
That is huge.
Yes.
But that's because when Trump was in, and Trump had the Donald, and he had Proposition 45, and so when that expired, it just went crazy with them coming back across the border. And it kind of, since the pandemic, things had kind of settled down a little bit. But then once that proposition ended, that was it, and it's just out of control.
Because they're saying that the airport, O'Hare Field, is one of only 18 migrant shelters in Chicago. And they're saying that the migrants aren't going to be able to stay. I'm going to call them migrants. They're illegal immigrants. Now, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson was expected to brief the city council members on plans on how to shelter the immigrants, including setting up base camps. Now, he campaigned as the people's mayor, but people saying that he's the immigrants' dang on mayor. And millions upon millions of dollars are being spent. What they're saying is through the end of the year that they're going to spend about $135 million just on the migrants. Now, you don't have money for the police. You don't have money for shelters for the American people.
To give the teachers a raise.
You can't get the teachers a raise. You can't put the cops on the street. You have no money, but you can find money for this.
And to send money to Ukraine. It's like, as long as you're not a United States citizen, you can get all the money you want.
Exactly.
Send it to Ukraine, bring the Ukrainians here, let the other immigrants in, unless you're from Haiti.
Yeah.
Or, and just so on and so forth. And then it's like taking our tax dollars that's way too high.
Yeah.
And just doing that. Come on, people. It's time to vote these people out.
Exactly.
Because these same people keep getting voted in when the only reason why they're passing anything is because of who is lining their pockets the most. That's kind of obvious. And it's like, and they just doing this stuff.
But people are voting against their own interest as well. So there's that.
It's crazy.
Okay.
These people make all these blanket promises and get up in there and don't do anything.
Yeah. And according to the mayor over there in New York, in Gotham City,
he about to lose his mind.
He said on last week that this is going to destroy New York. Because, again, it was all well and good as long as they were flooding into here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And they're coming with diseases and whatnot. Now, just the past weekend, they got into an altercation with the police. They ain't scared to fight the cops. Okay? Right. These migrants, they have nothing to lose, these immigrants. illegal immigrants. They have nothing to lose.
And
they're out here fighting the police.
Yep.
They're getting into it with the citizens. And like that woman said, we don't want them here. But where do you think they're going to go? You're just the last to get hit. You think long as they going over there with them niggas that everything is going to be great, everything is going to be cool. And there's only so much space in the ghettos. Eventually, they're going to start coming into your community, into the suburbs, or wherever it is that you live, because you always think that you're above it all, and you're not, and you're starting to find that out.
Well, and also, not only have Texas been sending them, Florida has been sending them as well.
Yeah.
And the Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, is getting so desperate.
Right.
And he's about to have a nervous breakdown. He has been, in turn, sending sending migrants back to Texas.
They ain't migrants. Migrants are people who go state to state looking for work, and they already live here. You're migrating. That ain't what these people is. You a damn illegal immigrant.
He's sending them to Texas. He's sending them to Florida.
How you sending them to Texas? We sending them to you.
Wait a minute. He's sending them to Texas. He's sending them to Florida, and then he's also sending some to China. It's like, why is he sending them to China?
Now, you know China don't even damn play that. China don't play that. And soon, because China won't let an American in. You can come visit, then you got to take your ass home. Okay? And Chicago is talking about setting up tent city. You know how brutal Chicago winters are? You're not going to make it through a damn winter in Chicago living in a damn tent.
And right now in New York, they're on the sidewalk, like all bunched up. They were supposed to have been in line waiting to get in, to shelters, because what they've done is they've taken even a lot of hotels and canceled reservations that people had up to a year in advance, canceled it because they've turned these hotels into asylum hotels. And so they're housing the immigrants, and they're complaining about the food that they're getting because the food they think is subpar and all that. And it's like,
complaining.
You're getting a roof over your head with air conditioning, heating, or whatever the necessary temperature needs to be. You're getting food every day and
you're
all of that.
You're in a 5-star hotel.
Yet you're stepping across people that was born and bred in this country outside that don't have the option that you're having. And yet you have the audacity to be complaining.
The whole time you waving the Mexican damn flag. Now, there are over 550 sanctuary cities in the U.S. I don't know if you were aware of that. Okay. There are 200 immigrant detention centers in the U.S.
Yeah, they have been doing a lot of crime. They've been committing. They've been like at the borders. There have been a lot of trying to smuggle illegal drugs and such as well. I mean, not surprised.
Bringing their diseases and whatnot because if you got to wear a mask as an American, they don't. They don't have to take the booster boulevard, the shot. You do as an American. Okay. Again, they're just overburdened. As more buses arrive at Port Authority in New York, the mayor says the city is severely impacted by the influx and is not getting support from the government. The government doesn't care. And they want to unburden overcrowded police stations in Chicago by moving the migrants again into tent shelters, but not to other U.S. cities who are also dealing with the influx. New York has received over 110,000 migrants since Greg Abbott started shipping them up there last year.
Yeah, he sent a little over 13,000 to New York, but he is sharing the love.
Yeah.
He definitely
They got a $12 billion budget deficit. They just can't afford it. Now, what are the 10 places that they're originating from? And then we're going to discuss another reason why they're shipping strong, able-bodied young men into the country.
I didn't mean 10. I just meant top countries.
Well, the
top countries are Mexico at 10.7 million. The Philippines, and that's I've never heard of Philippine immigrants before, but they're at 1.98 million. El Salvador is
now. Let me stop you right there real quick. The Philippines are in the medical field. What you have in America
okay.
is a lot of Filipino nurses that have been flooding in here for the past 10, 15, 20 years.
That makes sense.
Okay, so yeah, they study in their country, then they come here and they start working in the healthcare industry as nurses and things of that nature because I don't know if you're paying them cheaper or what the hell is going on.
Right. But after Philippines is El Salvador at 1.42 million, Vietnam 1.34 million, Cuba 1.28 million, and the Dominican Republic at 1.26 million. Now, the question was asked, does the U.S. need immigrants? But it says that America needs immigration at the most banal level. It's a question of math. It says we need more young workers to fund the old age of the baby boomers. Overall, immigrants are good for the economy, as a recent summary of research shows. So they're trying to say that they're paying the baby boomers, but it's like, okay, so I still don't buy into that because they don't have ID. You can't get a job without. But I'm gonna make you a cop. ID. So how are they working and paying into the economy? Well, I don't get that. I mean, I know they are. They're giving them those undercover
work visas, and they're pushing to get that done. Because how long are you going to be able to keep supporting these people? Now, is that the end of your list?
That's the end of that list. Now, again, you would think that the majority of the immigrants would be in California, but they're not. The largest influx of immigrants are in Miami. Right. They have 38.5%.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, because they got a huge Hispanic group down there in Miami. Them Cubans dominate down there. Now let's look at who benefits from immigration. Who are the groups that support illegal immigration and who really benefits from the open border policy in the U.S.? We have to look to who benefits from what the Romans call quiberno, which means to whom is it a good thing? To whom is it an advantage for these people to come over the southern border illegally? Number one is foreign governments seeking political and financial stability. Check this out.
What explains it all? Is there a war against citizens? Is there a desire for illegal immigration, illegal residents? And I think to answer that dilemma, that question that just seems so bizarre, we have to look to who benefits, what the Romans called cui bono. To whom is it of a good thing? To whom is it of advantage for all of these people to come across the southern border illegally? Let's start with the government of Mexico and the governments of Central America. Why would they want young men, mostly 70% of the people who cross illegally in the last 5 years have been young men? Why would they want to take their most productive, most healthy, strongest age group, cohort, and just send them out? It makes no sense. Especially their own demographies are starting to themselves stabilize. I think one reason is that young men tend to be the most opinionated, they tend to be the most muscular, they tend to be the most volatile. And all of these countries are not constitutional governments, with very few exceptions. And they're not fair and equitable societies. And they do not have a Bill of Rights. And they have endemic discrimination against indigenous people. And so one way of ensuring stability to the government elite in Mexico City, or the government elite in particular capitals of Central America, is to say, you know what? Don't march on Mexico City, march on Texas. It's a safety valve, in other words. But even more importantly is this idea of remittances. It's kind of a fancy word. It means that when you leave your country, you go to the United States, you earn money, and you send money back. At first, it was quite small in the 1960s, 1970s, but when you have 20 million people residing here illegally, and you have probably another 10 million who are legal residents, and you're up to nearly 40 million people of various statuses that were not born in the United States, And I will say that in my state of California, 27% of the population was not born in the United States. Many of them send wages back to their home country. In the case of Mexico, that is a staggering amount of about $35 billion a year. In the case of all of Central America, it's about $30 billion. Think of it, $65 billion leaves the United States, and it becomes the largest source of foreign exchange for the governments south of the border. It gets worse than that in a way, or more ironic, or more deleterious to the American citizen, because to free up that money from impoverished people, that means they have to go work in a meat plant, they work as waiters, they work as cooks, and then they send $200 or $300 a week. But who makes up the difference? Who supplies the subsidies so that can free up that cash? The taxpayer does, the citizen does. So to answer our question, the governments of Mexico and Central America have a large role to play in illegal immigration that diminishes the sanctity of citizenship for Americans. So to answer our question, the governments of Mexico and Central America have a large role to play in illegal immigration that diminishes the sanctity of citizenship for Americans.
So yeah, that's what that is, mine. These people of the foreign governments are the ones that are benefiting, number one, as to the reason you're letting these people. Number two, American businesses and people profiting from illegal immigration, they're benefiting. Check this out.
The second group, though, is us. And this gets more complicated. It's not a political question. If you are a Republican, Chamber of Commerce supporter, corporation, you want workers that will be industrious at the lowest wage possible. So what we've seen for the last 40 years are meatpacking plants, agriculture, hospitality industry, landscaping, says to companies throughout the United States, we've got to band together because we have interest in an open border. Our population, as we've seen in an earlier lecture, is fossilizing. It's static. Our demography is shrinking. We're at 1.8, 1.9 of our replacement. We need young men, especially young women. If they come across the border, no questions asked. They're vulnerable. They're worried about their immigration status. They work very hard. Compared to rural Mexico, the United States is a paradise. They're happy to get wages at 3 or 4 times, even though the wages are lower than what we pay American citizens. So the corporate establishment has been a big advocate of open borders. And it's been very hard to write op-eds for the Wall Street Journal or talk to the Chamber of Commerce because they feel that immigration, even if it's illegal, is very good for their own bottom line. Again, how does this hurt the citizen and diminish the idea of citizenship? If you're a U.S. citizen, if you're a resident of the inner city or the barrio or Appalachia, and you don't have a lot of skills yet, and you want to go and get an entry-level job, and you want to get minimum wage, but somebody is hiring somebody off the books from Mexico or Honduras or Guatemala, and they, from an impoverished society, might even be willing to work under conditions that you would not as a U.S. citizen, then that diminishes your job opportunities.
Yeah, so these companies are the ones that are pushing to have these people in here. And last but not least, the third group of people who benefit is the Democratic Party elites, because they're seeking new voters to replace the black vote. Check this out.
If you come illegally, we will ensure that you will not be subject to the enforcement of immigration laws. We will provide you with entitlements, but we expect in exchange fealty and loyalty and fidelity at the polls. And the children of people who come illegally, who were born here in the United States, very controversial word called an anchor baby, that second generation is of voting age. Some of the voting laws are of suspicious nature, that they're very porous, so people of unknown legal status have voted a lot. And California has flipped from a red state to a blue state. Nevada has flipped from a red state to a blue state. Arizona is in the process of flipping. Colorado has flipped. Texas and Georgia are in the process of flipping. New Mexico has flipped. And so in the eyes of the Democratic Party, illegal immigration has been a godsend in the Electoral College. If we were to go back and look at speeches from Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Hillary, and Bill Clinton, they're quite astounding. They're worried about the American worker, especially the union worker, and they say on the podium again and again, we've got to stop illegal immigration. It's injurious to the American citizen. It lowers the wages. It destroys unions. Cesar Chavez went down to the border himself to ensure the United Farm Workers could help the Border Patrol stop illegal immigration. That has all ended now. And the Democratic Party flipped and became an advocate of open borders. Why? Because of sheer numbers. It's not 1 or 2 or 3 million people are here illegally. As I said, it's over 20 million, and that's not counting legal immigrants. And these are seen as constituents that are remaking the political demography of the United States.
So yeah, that's what that is, man. And then you also have to look at the fact that the banking industry, because these people, like the man just told you, these people sending like $65 billion back to their country. How much do you think Western Union is pulling in when these people come in here to send that money? But I don't know how much longer they're going to be in business, because if you're able to do Cash App and Zelle and Venmo, you know, then how much money is Western Union losing? Oh, by the way, in case you didn't know, Cash App had some issues last week. Okay. And what you don't want to do is be leaving your money sitting there in Cash App instead of putting it in your bank account, because you don't want to pay the little fee. If anything happens at Cash App, you lose that money. Did you know that money is not guaranteed?
In light with everything going on with Cash App right now, I'm going to give you a piece of advice no one has ever given you. Never keep money in Cash App, Venmo, or any of these money transmitting apps. The money sitting in these accounts is not insured in any way. Not by the FDIC, nothing. It could be any moment that one of these companies goes bankrupt, they get sued, they decide to change ownership. If anything happens, they can shut down the servers and your money is stuck. Get your money out of there.
It's bad.
Very bad. Things are bad all over.
But in the case of with the glitch that they had the other day, it didn't matter if they was trying to move it immediately or not.
Yeah.
They weren't able to move it at all, period.
Nothing. You couldn't send money. You couldn't receive money.
Yeah.
None of that.
It was for real glitched.
The situation is horrible. Brandon Johnson in Chicago, mine, just trying to make it happen, just trying to pay for things that you have no money for. Again, you got a $12 billion deficit. But how are you supposed to take care of these people? And again, it's like when you feed a stray dog or cat, they're going to continue to come back. Do not feed the animals.
And then, with all of the ones that they're letting stay here, they have been doing a little bit of deportation. As of July...
Who they been deporting?
As of July of 2023, they actually closed and deported 536,000.
Them probably the crooks.
490 people. At the end of July, they had active cases that are still pending. 2,503,251.
Yeah.
So, with that many cases pending, how many years is it going to take to work through that? And in the meantime...
Many years.
Yeah, it's like that is a lot of cases that's pending.
Yeah.
That you have to do. Now...
Go ahead.
There's also what I found interesting. I came across this little article that says that there's 3 ways to lose citizenship. And so you may lose your citizenship, and that includes the natural born citizens, if you run for public office in a foreign country under certain conditions.
Really?
If you enter the military service in a foreign country under certain conditions, and if you apply for citizenship in a foreign country with the intention of giving up your U.S. citizenship.
Yeah.
And along with that, I was kind of surprised to see a couple of names that came up that gave up their citizenship.
Really?
And one being Josephine Baker.
Yeah.
Josephine Baker became a citizen of France.
Yeah, she was a singer and dancer back there in like the 30s and whatnot. It didn't because Tina Turner went to Sweden.
Yes, Tina Turner gave up her citizenship.
She gave it up? She didn't keep dual citizenship?
No, she didn't keep dual citizenship. She gave hers up in 1994, and she became a citizen of Switzerland.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, that's where she died, and where she was buried and everything. Also, W.E.B. Du Bois.
Yeah.
Yes, he became a citizen of Ghana.
Yeah. Because they're over there in Africa, they saying they want black Americans to come over there. How the United States immigration system works. U.S. immigration law is based on the following principles. The reunification of families, admitting immigrants with skills that are valuable to the U.S. economy, protecting refugees, and promoting diversity. This fact sheet provides basic information about how the U.S. legal immigration system is designed and functions. Now, the body of law governing U.S. immigration policy is called the Immigration and Nationality Act. It allows the United States to grant up to 675,000 permanent immigrant visas each year across various visa categories. On top of those 675,000 visas, they set no limit on the annual admissions of U.S. citizens, spouses, parents, and children under the age of 21. Each year, the president is required to consult with Congress and set an annual number of refugees to be admitted to the U.S. Once a person obtains an immigrant visa and comes to the U.S., they become a lawful permanent resident. In some circumstances, non-citizens already in the U.S. can obtain this status through a process known as adjustment of status. Each year, the United States also admits a variety of non-citizens on a temporary basis. Such non-immigrant visas are granted to everyone from tourists to foreign students to temporary workers permitted to remain in the country for years. While certain employment-based visas are subject to annual caps, other non-immigrant visas have no numerical limits. So they just letting any and everybody in here. And then, if you notice, it's always so many young military age people. Now, what they haven't been talking about is the amount of Asians that have been pouring in. And what people are saying is the Asians are coming in, the Russians are coming in. They're coming in through the Mexico-U.S. border. And some people say that they're going to be sleeper cells in the fact that China decides to go at it with the U.S. And the number of migrants coming from China, according to the U.S. Custom and Border Protection, over 4,300 immigrants from China is what the Border Patrol has encountered after crossing the southern border without authorization since October 2022. And the numbers just kept steady going up. They have on designer clothes. They have money. And what they do is they come in and they connect with their people who are already here. And they're granted asylum at a rate of 58%.
That's because, again, the government is looking at it from a whole different standpoint than what they should be. But, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, he have what he calls Operation Lone Star Defense Sovereign Authority to secure the border. And you could go on their website and kind of keep up with the ins and outs of what's going on. And on September 8th, they updated it. And he said that, the amount of they so far have stopped over 435,700 that were apprehended because of they've been trying to bring in fentanyl, which we know how much of an epidemic that has become. And other drugs, weapons, and that different type of deal. And they put those barrels in the water to try to stop them from
those
coming
buoys.
over. And so they're fighting
because they tried to sue Texas about that, but Texas rolls on.
And he's saying that they're not removing it. I mean, he's going to keep doing it. And so they also put up a fresh list of how many migrants they've bused to these different cities. These different states. And so they said that so far they have bused over 11,300 to Washington, D.C. since April of 22. They've sent over 13,500 to New York, over 7,000 to Chicago, over 2,600 to Philadelphia, over 1,100 to Denver, and over 480 to Los Angeles.
Now, here's what a guy said about the fentanyl, right? Mm-hmm. He was saying that America told China that we're not going to pay you the money that we owe you, the trillions of dollars. So China said, okay. So they said what he's saying, because he's a drug addict. Mm-hmm. He said what China did was stop the flow of heroin to America. And they replaced it with fentanyl. So they just be shipping it in here because their goal is to delete.
This is all allegedly, y'all.
All allegedly.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what the man said.
Right.
I'm going to put up the video here momentarily, if I remember to save it.
Watched the heroin disappear, basically overnight, and fentanyl was put on the streets. Us addicts didn't know what this fentanyl was. Pharmaceutical fentanyl is only three ways of it: is a lollipop, a patch, and IV drip. Fentanyl that was put on the streets was coming from China. When Obama was president, he basically told China, we're not paying you back the trillions of dollars we owe you. China went out and blocked all the heroin coming into this country, put fentanyl out here that has no shelf life. So you're back at the dope dealer every couple hours, and it's so strong that it was just people left and right. So they're getting their money back, and they're mowing down Americans at the same time. Nobody sees that. No, nobody, except us addicts.
But what he's saying is they're trying to delete or unalive as many Americans as possible. Everybody doesn't love America, okay? And so what he's saying is that's the reason the fentanyl is in here. But it's a sad state of affairs. And with these sanctuary cities, even if the federal government wanted to come in and to try to deport people who are in the local jails or extradite them. Let's say somebody with a DUI charge who was arrested by a county sheriff. Mm-hmm. They can't do it because they go under the thing of sanctuary cities. Do you think these people regret being sanctuary cities at this time?
At this point, look at Eric Adams again. He definitely regrets it. He's saying that so far, it's costing the city of New York in the billions already. Yeah. And so, of course, you would regret that because it turned out to be too many loopholes. And so it's way more out of control and out of hand than they expected it to.
Right.
So now,
long as it was Texas.
Right. But Washington is not trying to do anything to stop it or to assist.
Yeah.
That's where it's going to have to come from, and they're not trying to put anything in place to stop it. They're saying that it's a good thing that is happening.
Yeah. And what they're saying is that the blacks are homeless and on drugs and don't want to work, so we're going to bring these people in who are hard workers. And again, the blacks are starting to turn on the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party need these votes because once these people come in and have these anchor babies, then that generation comes along and the Democrats are looking for them to be loyal and to give them their vote. But they're saying they try and eradicate the black race is what a lot of people are saying. But where you going to send 46 million black people who are just as American as you are?
Right.
And if you didn't want us here, why you come halfway around the world to get us and bring us here? Why didn't you send us back when slavery was over? That's because y'all can't live without us, man. And if a spaceship was to come down, or Africa was to send 100 ships over here to bring us there, these people wouldn't let us leave. But the thing of it is, they do not want black folk around, according to some people on some YouTube videos. And that's the reason. Saying the niggas ain't killing each other fast enough, let's replace them with these people. So winter's gonna be brutal. I don't know how the hell you think you're going to live in a tent in New York, Chicago, or anywhere else. You're spending $300 million on these immigrants through the end of the year. It's going into billions of dollars. You don't have the money to sustain your own citizens, to sustain your own city. Again, white folks, you're just the last to get hit, fam. Now they're in your community. Now you're protesting. It's sad.
Mm-hmm. Because they don't want those children in there. Well, not so much as the children, but they're putting them like directly across the street from their children.
Yeah.
In these makeshift shelters and things.
Yeah.
Well, because as you said earlier, the majority of the migrants are men. And so who wants all of these strange people from other countries around their children? Mm-hmm. Because you have come across stories where they have committed crimes since they've been here.
And that's how the gang MS-13 came to grow in New York. Because you just letting these people just come over. Because at one time, New York Mayor Eric Adams was paying you $125 a night to house illegals in your home. Are you going to open up your home to some people who don't speak the language, let them around your children? These people could kill you in your sleep at night. You know nothing about these people, but now they want you to open up your home because you just running out of space. You don't think they calling back to their country, telling Pedro and them to come on over because here's what they getting and the benefits are just amazing.
Now with the ones from Ukraine, they actually set them up in housing. They've given them medical. They have food. I mean, they got the full benefits.
Right.
And with them, they're going to be able to vote and everything. And as far as the census, they're going to be counting towards the Caucasian census, which is going to help
raise their numbers.
Because their numbers were dwindling because of not having that many children. And before they reversed Roe versus Wade because of the abortions and things that was going on.
When is enough, mine? When is enough? Again, they just sent about another 1,000 to Chicago over this past weekend. 100,000 more expected to be flooding into New York. And you remember at one point in D.C., they had some of them outside of Vice President Kamala Harris.
Oh yeah, they dropped a few busloads from Texas to her residence in Washington. Yeah.
You say you need somebody to help clean, okay? And the problem in the black community in Chicago is just so out of hand. They said they were going to take
crime is crazy.
They said they were going to take matters into their own hands. But again, how much space do you have in the hood before these people start? They're already in the downtown areas. They're already at the airports. They're already at the police station. How do white folks figure that these people weren't going to be in their communities as well? This is what you voted for when you voted for Sleepy Joe. This is what you get. And it's all Democratic cities, they say. It's all the Democratic cities. But people vote against their own best interests. And, there's just the thing of, I saw this one girl, young girl, had to be in her early 20s. The guy asked her, he said, well, for the election next year for president, who are you voting for? And to just show you how stupid people are. Joe Biden, 80-something years old. This cat, he one foot on the banana peel, one in the grave. She said, well, I'm voting for Joe Biden. He rocked his head. They said, why would you be voting for Biden? She said, because I'm black. So the white man told you that if you didn't vote for him, you're not black. So he's telling you what blackness is. You're not looking at what policies they're running on. What are they going to do for your community? This just shows you. They say black people have the minds of a child. And in some instances, I can see that. Because, sweetie, if the only reason you voting for him because you vote Democrat and you're black, then I see why we're in the mess that we're in. Because one person was saying they think that they was going to put Michelle Obama up to run for president.
She said she absolutely under no circumstances want to be president.
Yeah.
And she have no interest in it. So that ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
But they need to remove all of them, the Democrat and the Republican.
Everybody.
All of them are crooks. None of them truly have their people's interest at heart. They're all in there for self-gain, self-purposes. They don't do anything that benefits the people that we can see.
They don't do
everything. The taxes is too high. I mean, everything is.
Everything.
You even have to buy water and gas and air.
Yeah.
Why would you have to buy water and air when you go to a pump somewhere? I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Humans are the only species who pay to live on the planet. And it's sad. Let us know what you think. Do you live in an area where the illegal immigrants are pouring into? Do you live in a city or in a neighborhood? Let us know down in the comments, mine.
Now, I do have the top 10 cities.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I do have that. The top 10, like I said, first, the number one city is Miami. And then following Miami is, California is in the house.
Of course.
San Jose. And San Jose have a percentage of 36.8%. Los Angeles, 33.8%. San Francisco, 29.8%. New York, 28.5%. San Diego, 23.4%. Houston, 22.3%. Washington, D.C., 21.9%. Las Vegas, 21.9%. And bringing up number 10 is Riverside, California at 21.4%.
Yeah, man, it's just sad. So let us know down in the comments what you think. Is it getting out of hand? Are you going to vote for the Democrats and Joe Biden and them again?
Mm-hmm.
And are you going to continue to vote against your own self-interest? Shaka 401 in the main event with Jackie O on the bangingest thing on your urban internet radio dial. Thank you for logging in and checking us out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you will. That would help us out very tremendously. It's our second show back, season 2, episode 2. All right, and we just want to thank you guys for the amazing support. Jackie O.
And not only like, subscribe, and comment on this YouTube video, also like and subscribe to Facebook. Well, that's what happens with
it don't matter, just sit back. We got expensive microphone. You got to eat the mic.
Well, it would be nice to have on some earphones.
Okay, well, you don't. So, you know. Just lean
Whoever
back.
heard as such.
Okay, well, say what you said again. You blew me out the chair. These are very expensive microphones.
Y'all tell them to get me some microphones.
You got a microphone.
I mean, what you call them? Earphones, headphones.
See, my old man said if you ain't confused, you ain't paying attention.
Earphones, and then I can hear when I'm too close to the mic. But anyway, y'all be sure and like, comment, and subscribe not only to YouTube but also to Facebook and to Twitter.
Yeah, somebody got to edit this stuff, man. And you in here yelling and screaming. Thank you for coming on.
Maybe I will have on headphones next week.
Okay, then you're going to have to move your seat closer to the dilly thingy here. Mm-hmm. And then you can put your headphones in. Sitting there in front of me, it's not stretching because I can't find my cords, my extension cords, man, that I had bought from Amazon, but that's neither here nor there. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We greatly appreciate you. You can find us on Facebook at Push Gap Space Radios. And again, I'll list that here down below. But thank you for making a part of our world a part of your world. We greatly appreciate ya. Shaka 401 in the main event with Jackie O on PushGapRadios.com. PushGapRadios.com. Dallas, baby.
And we're out. They gonna laugh.
PushGapRadios.com. We're bridging the gap between old school and new school radio. Pray until something happens. God always provides. At PushGapRadios.com. The power is in the name. Thank you for following us. And remember this, the people who follow us aren't followers. Jackie O.
And speaking of followers, everybody, remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video and all of our other ones.
Yeah.
Also, go visit us over at Facebook, Instagram. Do you still do Twitter?
Yeah, I'm working on it. I gotta beef up
tweet him, y'all.
Media.
Give him a reason to tweet. And then y'all be sure and come on back next week because we're gonna have a lot more good information for you.
That's what that is. Never average, never mediocre. Online, on point, and on the money. In Hamilton Park, Dallas, Fort Worth, we're PushGapRadios.com. PushGapRadios.com. Dallas, baby.
And we're out.
PushGapRadio.com.
We finna take over this town like street sweepers.
Don't knock the hustle, baby.
Hey, this is Scott Moran. It's not just the brothers that listen to PushGapRadio.com. For the hottest new show in the Metroplex, it's Shackleford 1 in the main event on PushGapRadio.com. Hamilton Park, Dallas, Fort Worth. Dallas, baby.
Never average, never mediocre. We're online, on point, and on the money.
Shackleford 1 in the main event only on PushGapRadio.com.
PushGapRadio.com. It's Dallas, baby.